Hey guys, this is Kat. This is my 5th day, which is pretty darn exciting, and I've been continuing with the things that I set out to do. So I'm continuing to do the planning every day before, and I'm sticking to calories except for one day. And I already talked about that one. It was very sad. and and I am working on creating a better mental space for losing weight. And that's part of what I'm going to talk to you guys about today. So I had talked about the TED Talks podcast that had Mr. Kelly talking about creative confidence. And today I had talked about it last time. Um, it's a podcast. Oh, no, don't do that, iPhone. um, it's a podcast called Life Habits Mentoring, and it's done by Karel Vredenburg. I think that's what it is. Vredenburg. um, and he's a really sweet guy. I think he's a Canadian. I can't quite tell yet, but I think it's so. Some of his pronunciation hits at it, with the about and or really fast about, and some other things. Like he said, he pronounced the word lever as lever. And he made sure to put those two pronunciations while saying a quote. And it just sort of struck me. So I'm not sure, but I'm keeping my ears out so I can figure this out because it's interesting to me. Haha. But the one I looked at yesterday was Getting Unstuck. And he has a formula, I think, for all of his podcasts. I'm not sure though, because I've only downloaded 2 so far, where he has a list of 10, and in that list he's saying the top 10 things that you can do to get started on blank habit that you're trying to do. And the Getting Unstuck one was really great and very helpful. It gave me a lot of food for thought. One of those things that I mentioned yesterday was the fact that he said not to think about the reasons why you're not able to just get started on whatever you're stuck on too much, which is something that I do constantly. And I've been thinking about how this is really not great, especially after he said it and after I had, sort of a light bulb moment where I thought, well, why would somebody say that? Of course I'm going to think about that. Isn't that what I'm supposed to be doing if I'm not able to achieve what I'm setting out to do every now and then? And it just goes back to this ongoing feeling where I have a lot of stuff going on in my head that really doesn't deserve to be there. And it is a constant theme in my life. I tend to get tired more easily than I should, and I get way more stressed out than I need to be. And I overanalyze things a lot. So I'm really trying to figure out how to remind myself every now and then to just take a couple breaths and be a little bit more calm and let some of those thoughts go because they're really not helpful in the long run. The other podcast that I listened to from this podcast series of Life Habits Mentoring was called Self-Confidence. And in this, he had a guest speaker, and I'm not sure what her name was because I was going through the podcast relatively quickly because I had some studying to do earlier. And but she was a very nice woman, and she also had a top 10 list, which she went through. Karel Vredenburg was really excited that she had a top 10 list as well. So, yeah, I think that's what he really enjoys, is lists. Anyway, so she talked about a whole bunch of different things. On the list, though, I'm only going to go through a few of them because obviously there was around 10. Well, she said 10, but I really feel like they skipped one of the numbers and they just sort of said it was 10. But anyway, maybe I listened to it wrong. So the first one that I wrote down was analyze internal self-talk, and I know that this is a really popular self-help idea where your thoughts are what's going to lead into your actions, and that's what's going to create the reality, whatever reality you are going to experience. And so if you have negative thoughts, those negative thoughts are going to turn into actions that are probably not going to represent you as like you want to be represented. And from those actions, you're going to have whatever reality you'll experience. And she said in order to figure out what kind of self-talk, you should probably ask yourself questions. So I came up with some for myself. Is why do you procrastinate, right? Why do you overeat? Why do you not socialize as much as you should? And why is it difficult for you to go out and apply for jobs? Why is that scary for you? Because I've had, problems with those sorts of things. Obviously, you guys know the overeating bit, but procrastination is something that is really hard for me, especially when I'm stressed out. Doing homework or going out to hang out with friends or something is the last thing that I want to do, probably. And the first thing I want to do is sit down and eat. And it's just not a really good combination. On top of that is I have a lot of difficulty with applying for jobs. Now, this doesn't mean that I don't apply for jobs. Okay, so if I'm having trouble financially and I really need to have a job, I will go out and I will apply for jobs, and I will apply for jobs every day, and until I get a job. But at the same time, I'm so gosh darn resistant to it. It's a really good thing that the consequences of not having a job and not applying for them are so great that I get off my butt and I go do things, because otherwise I definitely wouldn't. But it's just a really big problem, because I'll catch myself doing that and I just feel so frightened by the fact that I have resistance to doing something that will benefit me so greatly. And I was thinking about that because I asked myself those questions as I was writing them down, and I realized that the reason why I probably have trouble not figuring out how to not overeat, figuring out how to get myself to stop procrastinating, or socialize more, or apply more rigorously, I guess, to jobs, is because I really don't have very much confidence. And I know that's sort of funny, because that's why I was watching the podcast or listening to the podcast in the first place, but it's really true. I don't have confidence that I am the kind of person that can follow through with those things. And the more I think about it, the more I see it in a lot of aspects of my life. I've broken up with boyfriends before because I didn't believe that I would be able to be the person to go through arguments or whatever with him, and so I ended it, which is I mean, I'm glad that I did in retrospect because now I have my lovely fiance. But I mean, at the same time, it's the mentality that is the problem. I don't want to be that person that does that kind of a thing. I mean, I'm not going to do that with my fiance. That's why he's my fiance. But um, I I need to be able to not. I need to be able to know that I am the kind of person that can finish the things that I've started, and not knowing that is probably a pretty big source of my anxiety just on a daily basis. Like, will I go to class today? Well, I'm not sure. Am I going to have way too much emotion, and then will I not be able to handle it and have to go home early? Or gosh, I'm not sure if I really want to say, yes, I'll hang out with you this Saturday, because what if I just am not feeling up to it, and then I just relieve myself from that responsibility, and sorry, I'm playing with the rubber band, and tell you, just cancel plans at the very last moment. And that last one is something that has hurt relationships of mine with friends, and it's really not great. And so that's something I'm really going to work on. I've probably said really 100 times in this small video, but that's something I am really, really going to work on, and I will keep you guys updated. In terms of my weight, I don't know if I have lost weight yet. The last time I checked, I had lost about 3 pounds, but that was the day before I had eaten a whole bunch of food, and so I'm not sure if I'm still up there, or still down there rather, so I'll let you guys know tomorrow, not tonight. I'll let you know tomorrow, and we'll discuss that horrifying venture of getting on the scale. And I hope you guys are having a wonderful evening. I'll go ahead and I'll talk about the rest of this podcast and other things tomorrow, but I'm sick of having really long videos, so and I'm sure you guys are too. So I hope you guys are having a wonderful evening, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye!